Why are Call of Duty maps so bad these days? It's a question I've been asking myself for a long time, probably since Black Ops 4 and COD World War II. It seems like there's been this very streamlined, simplistic three-lane philosophy that has infected all modern COD games for the last 8+ years. And I'm kind of over it, to be honest. Luckily for us, I found a video. COD maps suck now, here's why. Level design analysis. This comes to us from Designer's Delusion. And if you enjoy the video, which I think you will, go subscribe to his channel. Link will be down in the description, pinned comment. But I watched this video a couple months ago and even left a comment on it. But I wanted to watch this with you guys because I felt like it was a great video. So let's get into it.
Initiating gamer mode.
Oh, the ambiance.
This is footage of me walking around the map array from the original Call of Duty Black Ops. It's just me here. No other players or bots in the game. This is something I would do all the time as a kid, not just in Black Ops 1, but in every shooter game I owned that let me do this. I always found it so fascinating to explore the map, in and outside of live matches and during campaign missions.
I especially love doing this in like Halo maps. There's something like eerie, like liminal spaces about these old maps and all the little details that you simply don't have time, like during a match, to stop and look at. Older COD games were real good about this. I think even in like my Ghost review, I pointed out like, hey, there's actually a pretty good amount of detail in these multiplayer maps. It's gonna go completely unnoticed because you're gonna be bored out of your mind, but yeah.
There was something just so surreal about it. And now that I'm older, having played tons of shooters from then up until now, I know why. And it all comes down to the map design.
Preach.
I'm just gonna get right to the point. The maps in Call of Duty, starting with Black Ops 2 and from Black Ops 3 onward, suck.
Starting from BO2 is kind of bold. That's pretty bold. I feel like Transit, Terminal, no, I can't remember what the name is. I'm cooked. The one that's on the aircraft carrier, I remember liking that one. I would say probably starting in Infinite Warfare. Black Ops 3 was at least somewhat acceptable for a futuristic game. I guess it's the best of the bunch, so I would say Infinite Warfare, they had no excuse for that game.
They are far less developed than the ones I grew up with.
God, I hated this map.
There's so much less area depth and density in these maps than
the thing is, like, BO4 actually had really cool, unique mechanics for a COD game, but the maps were just so goddamn boring. Like, this is just one lane, and there's nothing going on.
The ones before Black Ops 2. Old COD maps were masterfully crafted with ins and outs, ups and downs, flanking routes, under and over lanes, well-balanced spawn points, and sight lines. New COD maps are 3 straight lines with an alley or 2 connecting the lanes, and that's it.
He does a really good job illustrating that. I mean, you take for granted the old map design that actually kind of forced you to think strategically. It's almost like the game designers realized that the progression system was so important to people, and they love the double XP weekends, and they love Shipment and Nuketown, because that allows you to grind XP faster. I almost have a theory that the reason we're getting these types of extremely simplistic basic maps, and why we're never going back to the older style, at least besides Modern Warfare 2019, is because the progression system is now driving the design.
Now, both of these utilize the 3-lane map design.
Yeah, they're just so flat and empty, and these maps just feel like boxes on a grid.
Philosophy, but in very different ways. Now, before I go any further, I gotta cover what the 3-lane map design method is, because all Call of Duty maps and most PvP games use it.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. When am I gonna stop talking about 3-lane maps? Whenever they stop making them, I guess.
Basically, you can make a decent PvP map by having 3 main lanes for players to traverse, and that combat and gameplay is centered around. This is kind of the standard for PvP map design, since it's functionally the bare minimum a map needs to be in order to be engaging and feel complete to the player.
And one cool example of how you can take the simple 3-lane map design and kind of add a little spin to it, literally a spin, is like, look at Express from Black Ops 2. It is a 3-lane map, but all the lanes are like curved inwards. So and there's a train that runs through the middle. So even that design is like a spin on the 3-lane formula. That's pretty easy to achieve.
The difference is new COD maps take the 3-lane method literally, whereas older COD games use it as a framework to develop the map out of. In other words, Call of Duty maps, Black Ops 3 onwards, are just 3 lanes, a few walls, and not much else.
Yeah, and it's so boring and repetitive. These types of simple maps are also fine. It's just when every game consists of the exact same type of map, that's when it starts to suck. Map design in a first-person shooter is not just grading each map individually, but how they combine as a whole. What is the overall experience like? This is why a map like Derail, I don't actually hate that much, because the rest of MW2's map selection is fucking god tier. So of course, like, there's some leeway. There's gonna be some stinkers, right? In every game.
Whereas the Golden Age CODs, think COD 4 to Black Ops 2, took the 3-lane framework and used it as a guideline to build a map where the 3 lanes acted more like distinct entities that flow.
And they also felt like real places. Like in a newer COD game, they wouldn't have that little, they wouldn't let you go behind the counter.
Think COD 4 to Black Ops 2, took the 3-lane framework and used it as a guideline to build a map where the 3 lanes acted more like distinct entities that flowed in and out of each other and stimulated gameplay in unique ways. It feels like with Black Ops 2 and after Black Ops 3, the mentality became, hey, make every map Nuketown, but slightly different.
Yep.
So in this video, I'm going to break down why the old way of making shooter maps was, and still is, the better way to
Oh, look at that sightline. Look at all that space you have.
do level design for shooter games. And just a heads up, I'll be referring to the shitty map design as bad lane throughout the rest of the video, so try not to get confused.
I like that.
First, let's take the map Radiation from Black Ops 1 versus the map Gridlock from Black Ops 4 for a side-by-side comparison, just so we're all on the same page. The map Radiation has 4 vantage points, 1 on each side, that can see about 1/3 of the map each.
Yeah, look at that. There's no map in newer COD games that, here, let me move my camera, because he actually put a diagram up that's really helpful. Like, yes, on paper you could draw 3 lines across this, but it's way more complex than that.
A plethora of buildings along the edges and in the middle of the map, and lots of small cover throughout the exposed middle. A building on the top that kind of functions as its own submap, with an overhead flanking route and cover throughout the complex.
Yeah, and this is a good example, but this part of Radiation, like COD maps, he even highlighted it here. Or sometimes there were areas that felt like they didn't really belong or that they were a separate map. But this part of the map is actually fantastic for like demolition, search and destroy. To have the bomb in this area, that was really cool. It was a great area to play in for that mode. And so it's like, that's another thing, is that the maps in newer games don't feel like they're designed around specific modes or to accommodate them at all. They can't even really design maps around new movement mechanics that they add. So what faith do I have? Not much.
About the complex. An underground section that runs under the middle lane.
That was also a great place to have the bomb, like right underneath. Oh man, this is bringing me back.
That is accessible from both spawns in the middle area, and plenty of side alleys and crawl spaces scattered throughout the map. As you can see, there is a lot to this map. Yet when playing it, it's not overwhelming. Every playstyle, weapon, item, and killstreak has a place for it to shine, and the map as a whole feels well blended together. No area exists within a vacuum. However, on the Black Ops 4 map Gridlock,
We've taken control.
there's 2 vantage points opposite each other overlooking the middle section of the middle lane.
Yeah, look at the sightline you have here. You get to see the other sniping point and then like 2 sides right there. So like, yeah, it just does not look fun. I did not like this map.
The bottom lane has an indoors bathhouse that offers some close quarters combat, and the top lane is similar mid-range combat to the middle lane, with a few cars in it as cover, and this building in the top left having a vantage point over the lane.
And look at how segmented these lanes are. It is quite literally 3 lanes, like 1 alley connecting here to here, 1 alley connecting here to here. This sucks.
The map has 2 alleys connecting the middle lane to the top and bottom lanes, 1 on each side, and that's about it. It might sound similar, but when you see it and when you play it, you'll realize that Gridlock is a lot more compact and has less options for play. The lack of alternate routes on this map make it hard to flank, avoid hotspots and toxic players, or just get back in.
I also forgot how stupid the mini-map was in BO4, man. You had to have vision of a part of the map, or else you wouldn't see someone's red marker.
Into the fight. There is decent over.
Yeah, and you also just, when I play a map like this, you just feel like you don't have options.
overhead cover in some parts, but the scale of the map allows kill streaks to still dominate when they're in play. Hopefully these two maps demonstrate what I'm trying to show you. And by the way, I didn't cherry pick the best and worst examples from each. Every map in Black Ops 1 exhibits this degree of design.
Oh, and being able to revive teammates was kind of... I get why it was removed, but, you know, I miss when they would fuck around with stuff like that.
Depth. I even went through maps on the original Modern Warfare 2 and 3 and saw the same thing. Likewise, all the base game maps in Black Ops 4 are like Gridlock. Just 3 straight lines, a sniper window in the middle, and an alley or two.
And it's such a shame because, like, the gameplay of BO4, I really did like how it felt. I thought the new health system was kind of cool, different, and the maps were so boring. I already said that, but let's keep going.
That's it. So, now that you've seen a side-by-side comparison of an older map versus a more current one, I would like to explain in depth why the old school way is the best. One thing that Golden Age COD maps ensured in their design is that any playstyle the game allows is viable on any map. Meaning that if you like to run and gun, take things slow, play hyper-tactically, or defend a certain spot, whether you use a shotgun, assault rifle, SMG, LMG, sniper, pistol, or knife only, you can do well on any map.
Yeah, you can snipe on pretty much every single MW2 map. You can play close quarters. Even a map like Wasteland, which was designed around sniping, has that middle area where it's like, yeah, you could just run in there with a shotgun. You can play every play style. And it made the games a lot more replayable because if I got bored of sniping or got bored of using a certain weapon, I could swap and not have to worry about whether or not this weapon works on this map.
Granted, each map is different, and thus different maps will favor different playstyles more or less than others. But overall, there's still routes you can take and areas to play in within that map for however you like to play. There are long-range sightlines for snipers.
Yeah, and this is, like I said, this is a small map. Skid Row. This is a small map, and you don't have to quickscope. You can actually like snipe in a small map.
Long-range sightlines for snipers, close quarters indoors for shotguns and SMGs, medium-range lanes with plenty of cover for assault rifles and LMGs, and everything in between. These maps are laid out in such a way that action can be concentrated in any location and thus be lessened in others organically in the game. There's always alternate routes to go down if you want to avoid certain areas, flank, retreat, or regroup. And you don't have to stay in one area of the map to play what feels comfortable to you.
Yeah, and there was, you would notice that some maps would have those parts where, like, you didn't really encounter a whole lot of combat, but if you ran through them, you could get the jump on an opposing team.
Whereas, in the bad lane style of map, if you're not using an AR or an SMG, you're screwed. Most lanes on most maps are designed for short to mid-range combat, and overall there's less cover, alternate routes, and unusual geometry.
Seeing COD World War II multiplayer is just like, that's another thing. That game they always feel good to play, but it's just like, man, these maps are so boring. Like, I'm just shoehorned into using close quarters weapons because the maps are not built for all play styles.
This is typically why the person or the team that holds the building in the middle, or that can see most of the map, wins. Because everyone has to funnel through there sooner or later, and given the scale, it's too easy for players to come find you and spawn. Side note, this may be part of the reason why assault rifles and SMGs end up being the OP meta weapons in this type of COD. Additionally, because of this map design, I believe more toxic playstyles like camping are worse in these games. Don't get me wrong, it's still annoying as hell in old COD, but it was just that. Annoying. In the bad lane CODs, a sweaty player or corner camper ranges anywhere from annoying to ruining the game entirely. This is because with the hardcore 3-lane approach, there is just less map to go around. So where you could...
And if you, like this map, I can't remember what this was called, but from this position where he's at, he basically has an entire view of like any way the opposing team can push forward.
Ignore the area with the camper or flank them in older Call of Duty.
Yeah, you can't flank in this scenario. You have to, at this point, you have to tackle him head on from where he is.
It's a lot harder, sometimes impossible to do it in post-Black Ops 3 CODs. Golden Age COD maps are designed to facilitate all the game modes the game has to offer. Some maps are geared towards certain game modes more than others, but at the end of the day, each map is good for any game mode. These games even explain what the map is good for in the map selection, both for game modes and playstyles.
Yeah, see, Estate, dude. Estate is a great example of the type of map design that, like you don't want every map to be like Estate. All you need is one of them. But the idea is that, yeah, fight for control of the cabin, so objectives are centered around it. It's the ultimate power position in the map, and all the action kind of leads up to there.
For game modes and playstyles. Bad lane CODs, at least the Treyarch ones, don't do this. Instead, they give a description of the map thematically. Likely because each map is fundamentally the same. And current gen COD games don't do this at all.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, this makes it seem like
about.
certain maps are only good for certain game modes. This isn't the case. On the contrary, because each map is unique in its design, so is each game mode played on each map.
That's what I used to love about older CODs is like, I would have my favorite modes, like Demolition was my favorite, and you would kind of, like each map would play differently with each objective. And now it's just like, we got TDM, kill confirmed, hardpoint, domination, search and destroy. It's all just the same shit. It all kind of plays the same, but like Demolition on launch plays way differently than Demolition on Array.
Nuketown matches are typically fast-paced and hectic because it's a small map, while Array matches are typically slower and more tactical because it's a large map. As such, each game mode plays similar to what the map encourages. But despite this, you can still have slow games on Nuketown and fast games on Array.
You can, but I feel like that's not how they look at game design anymore. It's like, well, we have all this data and players aren't in combat for 10 seconds and then they lose interest. Like, I don't know about you, but I loved Array. And I love the idea of a COD map that does reward strategic positioning and like taking your time with it sometimes.
While a specific map encourages some things over others, it will ultimately facilitate all ways of play in its own unique way. This map variation is ultimately good for the health of the game.
Oh yeah.
When every map is structured the same, it plays the same, and it feels the same, which makes the game boring.
Exactly.
Bad lane CODs seem to be geared for Team Deathmatch, and esports Team Deathmatch at that. Despite this, in my experience at least, Team Deathmatch is always boring in these games. It always plays slow, which is ironic given the map is meant for fast-paced action. Likewise, every
map's so simple and they still give you wall hacks.
objective game mode devolves into Team Deathmatch anyways, because the map is laid out like a highway for players to crash into each other. Every map from this era of COD has a good amount of overhead cover, and an abundance of traversal routes that allow players to avoid enemy killstreaks in play, while simultaneously using killstreaks to shape the flow of the game. Additionally, the amount of cover is different per map, so the viability of specific killstreaks changes as well. Aerial killstreaks, like the Attack Chopper or Harrier, aren't as effective on maps like Hanoi or Terminal, where much of it is indoors. However, there are still affordances by the map, such as skylights in the ceiling, to allow killstreaks of this caliber to still be usable while giving players some breathing room.
I probably pointed this out in some video before, but yeah, that's also part of the reason why I like Terminal. And what a COD map should aspire to be is something that does accommodate all of the weapons and the kill streaks. Like, obviously not every map has to be like perfect for snipers, but the fact that they thought of that, oh, well, if we have this indoor area, we're gonna put these like glass ceilings that the kill streaks can shoot through. And that's a good point, that kill streaks also dictate the flow of a match, as you could use Harriers to block off certain points or make them harder for someone to run through.
Some maps in Black Ops 1 go as far as including ducts for the RCXD to travel through, making finding opponents faster and this low-level killstreak more effective.
This was really cool. Like, they thought about it. They thought about how the RCXD would work in this map. Maybe we can add cool little secrets. There's one in Nuketown. I know of that one. I did not know about this one,
Likewise, there's still cover and safe areas from all killstreaks, including the most deadly. These are places like elevated positions where attack dogs can't reach you in Black Ops 1. And plenty of hard cover from things like the AC-130 or Chopper Gunner. Along with some open spaces around the spawns for SAM turrets to take aim and care packages that come in.
Yeah. These areas back here that acted as a buffer to the combat, again, it just feels like something that's been shaved off to get players into the action as quick as possible. Maybe this is part of the reason why spawning in newer games always feels like so bad, is that you don't have these types of areas that give you some breathing space between you, the part of the map where the actual combat takes place, and where the enemies spawn.
In the bad lane style of COD, all maps are essentially the same in terms of construction and cover density. And they feature a lot less than the...
Yeah, see, look at this guy. He's in the back calling in a care package and he can't get it because they eliminated that buffer's area of safety. Sucks to suck.
Golden Age CODs. In old school COD, autonomous killstreaks would only affect a portion of the map. In a current Call of Duty, a sentry gun can dominate the whole lane, and an attack chop for the whole map. Never mind the destructive power.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? What is that? Just one... You don't even get like a stream of bullets, you just instant death.
Power of higher level kill streaks. It also doesn't help that kill streaks in more recent CODs are designed to be busted win cons instead of a reward that briefly changes the flow of the game.
I will say, however, I loved wraps in Black Ops 3. I would get that shit pretty often. I loved it. It is kind of a win condition. It's bullshit when you go up against it, but I thought wraps were a cool spin on dogs.
But that's a topic for a different video. Older COD maps are based on areas from the campaign. In COD 4's case, some multiplayer maps are directly from the campaign. This builds a cohesive fictional world in a way. As a kid, I always saw multiplayer matches in Black Ops or Modern Warfare as battles NPCs were fighting in the campaign.
Isn't that funny too? Like, I haven't seen Black Ops 7 multiplayer maps. Like, I haven't watched much gameplay and I'm not playing it. You see all those like crazy mind-bending areas in the campaign, and then you just know that what you're gonna be playing in multiplayer is gonna have nothing to do with that. It's just gonna be the same fucking basic 3-lane maps. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments though. If I'm wrong on that, let me know. It did a lot. Like, Estate was also part of a Modern Warfare 2 campaign mission, and you know, I think it's nice to have some maps be based off of the campaign and not do what Reach did, which is all of the maps are from the campaign. It does create a cohesive vision that, like, what you played in the campaign is they tie together.
Like, this game of Team Deathmatch I'm playing in multiplayer was happening on the sidelines or somewhere else, while Soap and Price were out saving the world. New COD maps are in some random place, and that's really the end of it.
Yeah, look at him, he's got a fucking samurai sword.
Some of them are thematically based off campaign areas, yeah. But in these cases, I find the actual campaign area to be better, both in level design and aesthetics. Additionally, I notice newer game maps tend to feel disconnected from the greater world. The surrounding environment seems so distant, whereas old school maps put you in the heart of combat.
Yes, very good point. Very good point. You felt like you were actually in a war zone, as opposed to, like, in some static shipping crate off to the side.
Closely surrounded by buildings or landscape, as if in real life. Also, there's just less map effects in newer CODs. There's no window panes to break, no explosive barrels or cars to blow up, and no little other stuffs that explode into a cloud of paper, sparks, or dirt when shot.
Yeah, see, you know why? Because that's not good for the competitive play. We need to make competitive games that are as sterile and lifeless as possible. Reduce the number of variables. No secret power positions, no environmental effects. Players don't want that. It must be static and boring. This is actually a great showcase, though. Like, just feeling like your bullets have impact and can change the world.
Now, I know this point isn't the most important, but I digress. A consistent narrative in a fictional world builds a better sense of place. And at the end of the day, these maps are places we inhabit. Even if it's just for 10 minutes of TDM. It's the little things that count.
Absolutely.
Now, by this point, you'll probably agree with me that the old school way of making COD maps is superior than the current. However, I will say that the bad lane style of map isn't without merit. This style of map should be geared towards fast-paced in-your-face combat, and I think it shows the shift Call of Duty underwent towards focusing on the competitive esports side of the franchise more heavily.
And it's not the design that is inherently the problem. It's not the simplicity that is the issue. It's the fact that nearly every map follows the same design and the same layout. I've been feeling this way for a while, ladies and gentlemen. It's kind of why Black Ops 4, I was more of a zombies guy in that game.
Also, this map design philosophy may have been more appropriate for the sci-fi advanced movement CODs, but ultimately, I still think the old map design is best, for all the reasons previously covered. While it worked for Black Ops 2, and in theory should make games more hectic, which most COD players seem to like, the reality has shown that people play a lot more passively on these maps. Of which I believe this is largely to do with the map design, being so basic and boring. There's just less map to go around.
And there's less paths to take. It does kind of encourage camping and just like holding a lane because you know eventually someone's going to come across you. What are you going to do? Sprint across no man's land?
It's more dangerous to move around, so why move at all?
Exactly.
Likewise, I wager esports games were and would be so much more interesting in the old school style of map, because there's so many more elements at play in just the map alone.
God, competitive MW2 on like a state, that would be... I might have to look up some old MLG tournaments or something. That actually does sound like a lot of fun.
I mean, look at these clips from Black Ops 4 versus the original Modern Warfare 2. The gameplay speaks for itself.
Back, Prophet.
Yeah, look at how empty these areas are. It's just flat and nothing.
Talk backed.
And then when you play on terminal, you felt like you were at an airport. What's that? No Russian mission? You go to an airport in a campaign? You see, your brain puts these things together and it makes sense, and you don't really have to think about it.
I hope everyone who's watched this far now sees the difference in the way COD maps are structured, and thus its role in changing the way we as players engage with the game. Everything I talked about is what makes old maps so much richer to play in and to be in. They feel like real places because of this design philosophy that I can only describe as thoughtful. It took a lot of thought, planning, and testing to make these maps as great as they are, and I appreciate it so much more having played the alternative for the past however many years.
I agree. Don't know what you got till it's gone.
Some good examples in new COD, like Artifact and Lockup in Black Ops 4. But that's because, at least from what the map shows me, they are designed with the older, better mentality. Probably because it's DLC. Also, while I exclusively talked about Call of Duty in this video, these map design principles extend to other shooter games, and other games too. While it varies case by case, as different games will focus on different game mechanics and playstyles, the general principle still remains. A good map should have a lot of map to it. A very stupid way I could sum up this comparison is, current gen maps are like a square, Golden Age maps are like a tesseract. Even if they both occupy the same space, there is still so much depth and detail in the old school maps that is so fascinating to explore.
This guy makes some good points. I tell you what, that's a good comparison.
For this section, I'd like to summarize some of the key points of this video for any level designers out there who may need it.
And you know they fucking need it.
I want to reiterate that the 3-lane PvP map philosophy should be used as a framework for building interesting maps out of, not to literally draw out 3 traversal lanes and put some buildings and alleys between each. Honestly, a good map using this approach shouldn't have 3 obvious lanes visible from the map overview or map spawns. Anyways, don't think the 3-lane is the be-all end-all. Actually flesh out your levels and diversify them with over and under sections, inside and outside areas, flanking routes, vantage points, obstructions, blocked lanes, divergences, and non-straight lanes.
No, that's all gibberish. That's all nonsense. No, three straight lines, please.
Second, it may be useful to look at level design through multiple lenses. For example, for all the good maps I've shown in this video, you can see them as designed around zones instead of lanes. Each zone acts as its own micro map, if you will, acting as a convergence point for combat, and are the hotspots where most of the action will gravitate towards. The lanes can be seen as the neutral space that connects multiple zones in a map. Feel free to mix and match different philosophies in the same game or project, or even on the same level. Third, try modeling your in-game levels after real places. What I'm saying is ditch the 3-lane structure or any level design philosophy, and just make it like how it exists in real life.
I miss when they did that too. Because then you have a basis of like, oh, real people actually designed this space in real life. How would it play in a video game?
Obviously, this would be difficult, as having access to an Arctic research base or uranium mine isn't exactly something everyone has. And you'll have to use your game design intuition to adjust the layout so it works for a video game. But designing a map based on the real counterpart, or what you think the real counterpart may be, then adjusting it for a game may be a viable option. I certainly feel like the map Rust from Modern Warfare 2 was made this way.
Yeah.
Lastly, and this one should go without saying, but feel free to experiment. I'd say level design and design of all types is both a science and an art form, so have fun with it, try something new. Make something super unconventional that breaks all the rules, and it just might work out.
Yeah, Terminal does kind of break all the rules. That's cool to see that area. That's like baggage claim, and so there's metal detectors. It's like the check-in. There were some computers there. A little gift shop. Yeah, it's almost like a real airport.
Just be sure to test it once it's done. You wouldn't want to release a game with shitty maps in it after all.
How dare you? What do you mean? Never mind. Do not subscribe. How could you continue?
For all the players out
Oh, you can't just be like, Halo map design sucks and then just dip out. Maybe he's got another video on his channel about that.
there, if, like me, you played a lot of shooters, from the Golden Age to the current crop.
No, that was probably just bait for Halo fans, in which case, well done.
And everything in between. And you've been feeling like they don't hit right, they don't hit like they used to. You're right, they don't. There are other reasons for this besides maps, of course, but the fact is that environment shapes culture. The digital environments we play in shape the way we play, just as the real-world environments shape how we behave in the real world. Newer CODs aren't designed for everyone. They're designed for sweaty esports tryhards or just lazily thrown together, and the maps show this. If nothing else, the fact that most of the maps in the newer MW3 are from the original MW2 should prove my point. Like, they just gave up with this one.
Yeah. Let's just steal someone else's homework.
For the game developers out there, and I'm talking to indie devs and future devs, I know AAA won't listen.
Yep.
Don't make this crap! Yes, the basic 3-lane method provides an easy framework to use, but in my experience, if you want to make a game good, you need to put in the extra effort. Whether you like it or not, there's no easy way around it. Which in this case means spending a lot more time and energy fleshing out game levels than you may otherwise want to. But I'm not trying to make future game devs feel bad, because a lot of you will be growing up playing games with these inferior maps, and won't have a frame of reference of what a good map can be.
Imagine growing up with COD Vanguard, man. No wonder the youth is so lost.
So I hope this video acts as that frame of reference. I hope you use this video as inspiration or a reference to make better maps and thus make better games. Honestly, I never thought of myself as much of a level designer, but going back through these older COD games, just to walk around the map or play with the bots, really made me appreciate how much thought went into this. Like, I played so much Call of Duty as a kid, and I admired the small details in the map, but never did I think about how the structure of the map itself made the game so much fun.
And you don't think about that when you're just playing the game and having fun. You really do have to just like go in solo and just walk around and move and just see the map for what it is without players in combat on it. I think that is I would recommend doing that for any COD, really. Any game.
So, if you're a player frustrated with the way current games are, and or a developer who just can't figure out how this map you're working on will come together, maybe all you need to do is to boot up a favorite game from your childhood and take a little walk down memory lane.
Well said. Take inspiration from what inspired you to be a level designer. That was a great video. I'm glad I watched it again. Go subscribe to Designer's Delusion. I shall subscribe. Yeah, I think he really lays it out in a pretty simple, straightforward way, and I think the editing was great. The maps that he chose to showcase, really a solid all-around video, and yeah, I'd like to see more from him. So, like the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts are on why Call of Duty maps are so bad, or if you even think they are, if you got this far in the video. Subscribe to Designer's Delusion. Give his video a like. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!